What then is the nature and purpose of human beings according to the Baha'i writings? Baha'u'llah declares in one writing that God chose to confer upon man, or human beings, the unique distinction and capacity to know God and to love God. Okay, so from this we get that the aspect of the nature of human beings is this capacity to know God, to love God, probably through the vehicle of the revelation, these different messengers or manifestations of God, right, who disclose and make God's qualities, attributes, and reality clear in some way to human beings. The writings of Baha'u'llah also talk about human beings as a gem-like reality. So, do we literally, like this little doodle, have gems inside us? I would say no, it's more of a metaphor for the reality of the soul. Okay, just like, or similar to how the manifestations of God are gems of holiness, luminous gems of holiness, or gems of virtues, right? Whereas the manifestation of God naturally reflects perfectly all the attributes of God, rather it's human capacity to potentially reflect and develop different qualities and virtues such as compassion, honesty, integrity, friendship and friendliness, loyalty, attributes and qualities of these sorts. So in this writing, Baha'u'llah declares, from all created things, God has singled out for his special favor the pure, the gem-like reality of man, and invested it with the unique capacity of knowing God and of reflecting the greatness of his glory. So when we turn to God, learning about him, knowing him, but also when we turn to him, reflecting from the gems of our souls, the greatnesses of his glory, or the multi-facets of his characteristics, perfections, or attributes. These things which I refer to as virtues. This vision of the nature of human beings becomes a springboard for the ideal that humanity is one and they are one human family. Instead of thinking of human evolution or human diversity as encompassing many different races and nationalities, rather the Baha'i faith focuses on the unity of the human family, that we all come from one stock, one ancestor, right? And that we're all united as the different parts of a tree, the different leaves, different blossoms, the different fruits are part of one tree. This famous Baha'i writings from Baha'u'llah says, ye, or you all, ye are the fruits of one tree, the leaves of one branch, one human family. And that all human beings are created noble. Okay, the idea of original sin, which is prominent in many forms of Christianity, isn't really accepted in the Baha'i writings. Rather, human beings are created noble to do good in this world, although we can fall short and turn towards things that are really negative and really horrible indeed, and then become in a sinful state, okay, through acts, but we're not intrinsically sinful at the core of our being. Baha'i writings talk about God's light being potentially in human beings. In this writing, the voice of God addresses human beings as written by Baha'u'llah. Thou art my lamp, and my light is in thee. Get thou from it thy radiance, and seek none other than me. Okay, so turning to God, we can find this radiance of God's light that fills the gem of our souls. So the teaching of the oneness of humanity. I create thee noble, all other writings. I breathe within thee a breath of mine own spirit. Thou mayst be my lover. Okay, our spirits are like a breath of God in which we can love God. Okay, so pictures of the diversity of the Baha'i, followers of the Baha'i religion. So the oneness of humanity, this teaching encompasses the idea that we all have one same spiritual nature, created as gems of virtue, or the gem-like reality of human beings, these souls created to know, love, reflect God's glory, to help carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. The teaching of the oneness of humanity also encompasses the ideal of beauty of diversity. Okay, so our differences, or even more superficial differences, are facets of beauty in the world. Okay? And also that our diversities should be sources of harmony and bringing people together rather than being sources of division. We should cooperate and build off each other's different talents, insights, and abilities. This idea also encompasses the equality of women and men. Both women and men created as these gem-like realities, okay, with ability to acquire virtues and perfections. Okay. And the Baha'i writings speak of women and men needing to work together as two wings of a bird, cooperate, collaborate for the benefit of all humanity. So the world of humanity has two wings. One is woman and the other is men. Not until both wings are equally developed can the bird fly. Should one wing remain weak, flight is impossible. Not until the world of women becomes equal to the world of men, the acquisition of virtues and perfections, can success and prosperity be attained as they ought to be. So Baha'is are very active in the work of promoting the education and rights of women in the various countries in which Baha'is live. The beauty of diversity itself, this idea of the oneness of humanity, is compared to different colored flowers of a garden. Okay. So the Baha'i writings speak of a garden which only has one color, perhaps only all yellow, perhaps only all white, perhaps only all red, whatever the color that one color may be. Right? It's a nice color. It's a nice garden. Right? It's quite lovely. I think they're tulips. Okay. But how much more beautiful, according to the Baha'i writings, is a garden with growing side by side flowers of many different colors, fragrances, shapes. And it's the contrast of color and shape which brings out the beauty of one flower, and by contrast, the other flower as well. Okay. The joyous contrast of colors that makes for charm and beauty. Each flower, besides being beautiful in itself, brings out by contrast the qualities of the others and shows to advantage the special loveliness of each and all. And the unity of diversity. Okay. So Baha'u'llah says, be as the fingers of one hand, the members of one body. And just like the different bones and sinews and muscles and arteries and organs all work together in the making of the human being. So human beings should also collaborate, cooperate, build off each other's talents, skills, insights, energies, and powers to make the human race itself flourish and continue to advance and provide for the health, the education, and well-being of all members of this planet. So this universal vision, this world vision of the Baha'i faith, which in the writings of Baha'u'llah, he says, let your vision be world embracing rather than confined to your own selves. Or in this one, the earth is but one country and mankind its citizens, right? So Baha'is have a great deal of national pride, but their loyalties first and foremost are to the entirety of the human race, and they see themselves as first and foremost as citizens of the entire planet. And the necessity for human beings to cooperate is encompassed in this writing that's so powerful as the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. Right? The Baha'i writings speak of all problems in the world being able to be easily addressed and solved if human beings unite in compass purpose to solve that. Right? The core problem is not any sort of singular problem, whether it is racism or poverty or a certain disease that region of the planet is dealing with, right? Or not clean water. Any of these problems can be easily addressed and solved if people truly cooperate with their resources, their energies, their knowledge, their talents. All of these problems can be solved. Unity and diversity also speaks of a world federal system with nation states as being developed in the future. So similar to how the United States is organized and brought together by the federal government in Washington, D.C., right? The different nation states of the planet will someday be united by a single federal system that will help the different nations cooperate in their resources, in their economic strengths, to be able to provide for and truly let each people have both their physical needs as well as their intellectual and educational needs. All things are provided for among humankind, and there will be elimination of extremes of wealth and poverty. And it doesn't mean that everyone will have exactly the same money, but no one will be in dire poverty anymore due to this organization of the resources of the planet. And also, people will be united by having a single language in which they all learn and can talk to around the world. While diversity of languages will be preserved, everyone will have an auxiliary universal language which they can learn and travel all around the world and speak in that language, right? English is becoming somewhat that default language today, even while it's not officially this universal language today.